influencing popular culture, politics, and everything in between. The local station takes you ringside as we discuss the crazy world that is professional wrestling. This is Going Ringside with the local station.
Hello there, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Going Ringside. I am your host, Scott Johnson. So glad you could join us today. Before we move forward with this episode today on JoJo Offerman, I want to talk a little about last week's episode. Maybe the biggest stars we've ever had here on the show, Trish Stratus and Lita, joined us on last week's episode. If you haven't heard about it or seen it yet, you might want to go check it out right now. Great stuff with Trish and Lita, arguably the two greatest female wrestlers in history, joined us here on the show today. That day, so it was so fun to sit down with them and hear what they have to say about their careers, their feud, and what is next for them. So go check that out in the archives right now. Today, very excited about our guest, JoJo Offerman. She, of course, was a wrestler for WWE, a singer, a ring announcer, but she was also very well known because she was engaged to be married to Bray Wyatt, real name Windham Rotunda. They had 2 children together. And as you know, and we covered here on the podcast, sadly, last summer, Bray Wyatt, at the young age of 36, passed away. And JoJo Offerman has been left in one of the hardest positions of all. That is a single mom, who not only a single mom, but a single mom who lost their dad at such a young age. And now she is left to pick up the pieces of her family's life and get back up and going. And it looks like she is, and she's going to tell us a little about that today here in the interview. But it's so much more than just her relationship with Bray. She was also a great performer in WWE for all those years. She came in extremely young, and they realized they had something special. She wasn't a single talent person. She could sing, she could talk, she could wrestle. As a result, all 3 things were utilized by the company. She was a wrestler, she was a ring announcer for many years, she was also a singer in WWE, she was on Total Divas, so she did a lot in her time with the company. She's no longer with WWE, but still has a very close link with WWE. Of course, the wrestling universe, her family has come to her aid during this time of grief following the loss of her fiancé, Bray Wyatt, last summer. So in this interview, she will talk about how she and her children are doing now, moving forward, where life goes from here, and of course, maybe what she has her eyes on down the road as a career. So I want to bring it to you. Here is her interview with Bray Wyatt's fiancé. You probably know better as JoJo Offerman. Well, we are here with JoJo. You probably know her best as for all those years. JoJo, how are you doing and what's going on in your world right now?
Honestly, I'm doing great. I'm a mom, so that's pretty much what I do most of my time, and just kind of getting back into the groove of things, trying some music. I don't know, maybe working out again and in the ring. We don't know. We'll see, but pretty much that's all. I'm just mom.
I don't want to bury the lead. How have things been going for you? We know it's been such a difficult year.
It's they're going. Yeah. And that's the best and the most I can honestly say. There are good days, there are bad days. It's honestly very difficult most days, but I've always said that Windham and I, or you guys know him as Bray, sure. Our relationship was so strong. It was such a wonderful, beautiful thing that that's what gets me going, knowing that we had that type of love and strength in what we built in our family, in our home, in our life. So that keeps me going, like staying strong for him.
The outpouring of support has been incredible. It seems
absolutely like. Incredible. Yeah, the wrestling community, even beyond, they've really had my back, especially people in the company have really just stepped up and helped me get through a lot of my days. And if it wasn't for a lot of friends and family, obviously family, I don't know where I'd be.
Sure. Let's get back to your career.
Yeah.
How did it start? It was about 10 years or so ago?
It was 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
Yeah, I was 18 when I first tried out, and it started off as just an innocent tryout that I didn't think much would come of it, and I didn't really know what to expect. And thankfully, luckily, I was blessed enough to have the opportunity to start, and that's how I had my big break. But I was wrestling first before anything else. So.
You're in Total Divas. You're doing the announcing. It's just kind of a lot of chaos thrown at you very quickly. It sounds like
very quickly and very young. So that's the biggest thing that I always say. I was 19. Just turned 19 when I started.
Yeah.
Did my tryout at 18, turned 19, maybe a week or so later, they were like, you're hired. So it was a lot thrown at me at a very young age. I think that I handled it pretty well, considering that it could be a lot for anyone. So
did you understand what you were in? Because I can only imagine a 19-year-old in the WWE world.
Absolutely not. No, I
Really?
didn't. No,
Yeah.
I didn't. I honestly didn't even realize how intense it was until I was like way into it, and I was like, "What am I doing? I'm never home." But at that point, like I was just living life and trying to have the best experience I could have.
How did you and May Brave meet in the industry, or was that outside the industry?
In the industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
Just through friends, like we kind of, through work obviously, and then we had same group of friends, a lot of the boys, a lot of the girls. We just kind of spent a lot of our time together, obviously 5 days a week on the road, so we became a family, and just spending time with him, the more and more time we spent together, the closer we became as friends, and then one thing led to another, and we realized we liked each other.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
So are you still in the industry now? Are you doing conventions, or kind of where are you at in regards to work?
Right now, I am not in the industry. I'm just doing some conventions here and there.
Sure.
Just kind of keeping my name in there. Honestly, the biggest reason I do this is to be able to let people know that they can come and kind of show their support in person if they want to, because I think that seeing me has helped a lot of people cope. So that's pretty much what I...
Do you miss it, or do you like being home?
A little of both.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love being home. I love it. I love being around my kids, but then,
How many kids?
Just 2.
Okay.
Yeah, just 2, but I have 2 beautiful bonus daughters as well.
Yeah.
But I love being home, but there are days where I do miss it, and I wish I could kind of jump back into it. So we'll see.
Well, JoJo,
We'll see.
thanks for joining us on the show today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I appreciate JoJo coming on the show with us, giving us an update on life, how they are doing. And she didn't just do it here. She also posted on social media recently kind of a little stronger sentiment of how it's been since the loss of Bray over the last year. I want to read you an excerpt of what she put out on social media recently, just in the last few weeks. I'll never show anyone how much I'm actually hurting. Never. I'll smile and say I'm fine. Keep that in mind the next time you think I seem okay. Be kind. All I've ever wanted is the life Windham and I created together. And now I have to learn to live this life without him. When every day I mourn the love he made me feel, it's hard carrying the weight of not only my pain, but the pain of our kids. But I'm grateful that Windham gave me 2 beautiful kids to keep loving and loving me long after he's gone. So for them, I'll keep smiling and saying I'm fine even if I'm not. So obviously a difficult time, because consider how difficult this is. She's in the public eye. Bray was in the public eye, and his loss and people's concern or feelings toward her is public, and it's hard. It's one thing to grieve in private. It is another thing to grieve in the public spotlight. So that is something JoJo Offerman has been dealing with. And our thoughts and prayers to her and her family as they just continue this moving forward with life. And it's not just been JoJo. It has also been Windham Rotunda's family, Bray Wyatt's family. And I want to bring back in a second an old interview we did. So I interviewed Bray Wyatt's father, Mike Rotunda, a little while back, just weeks before Bray passed away. We didn't know, this would obviously ever happen, so I had been planning to release our Mike Rotunda interview and do a whole episode on Mike. He had a great career, but then Bray passed away. And so days after Bray passed away, we did episode 27, which you can go look back right now, remembering Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk, who you may have remembered. They both died around the same time. And we talked to Mike Rotunda in that about his career. But also there was this excerpt, which I'm going to show you in a moment, talking about, how proud he was of his two children, Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas. Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas both have done incredible things. I wanted to ask him about that. So here's a quick clip from episode 27 of Going Ringside with Bray Wyatt's real-life father, Mike Rotunda. What was it like for you when you saw your son main eventing with John Cena?
Yeah, it was great. I wish he would have won, but, so still not done. So that both of my boys are back up there, and we'll be back soon, hopefully.
Now, Bray Wyatt, the gimmick, did you know that was going to come, or how did that come about?
No, he kind of figured that out on his own, and he had the gift of gab and, could pull the character off, so... I got a lot of attention and did well.
Did you teach him and his brother to wrestle early?
Well, somewhat, but they basically went into the WWE developmental school, and that's, I obviously gave them pointers and stuff, but never physically, because I was already working for, on the road all the time. So they picked it up, though. They were both good at football players and wrestlers in high school. And Bray went to a junior college in California, and then Troy, Alabama picked him up there, so he went back and played ball there and then got into the wrestling.
And so that was a quick clip, episode 27, if you want to check it out right now. It's all about Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk. So Bray Wyatt's legacy is not done. Obviously, you've been watching WWE in the last few weeks. You've heard all about the Wyatt Six. The new faction that has arrived under the guise of Uncle Howdy, kind of leading the way. This has got all the talk of the wrestling universe going on about it, and of course it cements Bray's legacy as such an iconic character. So I wanted to unpack that, talk about that here. I brought in John Brecko with the Hot Tag Takes podcast, and to bring him in, pick his brain. He's been on the show before, and I wanted to get his thoughts on not only Bray Wyatt's legacy as a performer, but also this new Wyatt Six clan, where he thinks it will go from here. Let's get to it. Well, we're joined again by John Brecko with Hot Tag Takes. John, thanks for joining us on the show today.
What's up, brother? Always good to talk to you. How are you?
Good. Want to talk all about Bray Wyatt and kind of the Wyatt Six we're seeing.
Yes, sir.
First off, we're coming up on a year from Bray's passing, or Windham Rotunda's passing. Your thoughts on the legacy he leaves?
My thoughts on the legacy. That's complicated, man, because, you think about how he was booked, all the characters he come up with. There's just so much to Bray Wyatt's WWE career that we could talk about. For anybody who doesn't know, Bray Wyatt is the son, Bo Dallas as well, of IRS. So he is a second generation wrestler. Grew up pretty much in the business a little bit, a lot like a Cody Rhodes or Randy Orton or somebody like that. And Bray Wyatt, I still remember when, his character started getting fleshed out in 2013. Hell, I remember back when he was Husky Harris over in the dark days of NXT. I remember
NXT, I think, was part of the Nexus originally, yeah.
Yeah, it was a game show back then. It was almost like a Family Feud type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But the thing with Bray Wyatt is I remember his character starting to get fleshed out in 2013 with characters like Kane. He had a feud with Chris Jericho, John Cena at WrestleMania. That's what the 36 match was built on during the pandemic. And, it's been up and down with Bray Wyatt for so many years. And I think the one thing that everybody has been able to applaud that we've seen from Bray Wyatt is just his creativity in all of these characters. You don't become a WWE champion with some of the horrendous booking, that he's had, unless you have such a creative mind for wrestling. Mm-hmm. And a way to just compel people and a way to draw them in and make them want to watch you. And Bray Wyatt was somebody who attracted so many people to watch him over the span of his career. And, I almost wonder what Uncle Howdy could have been with Bray Wyatt at the forefront of that. I wonder what that backstage invasion could have been.
I think I've seen that Windham Rotunda may be in next year's Hall of Fame. Do you think he should have been in this past year's Hall of Fame?
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, the guy left a legacy behind, on his own. It's a lot like when Eddie Guerrero was inducted into the Hall of Fame, somebody who undoubtedly deserves it. And I think Bray Wyatt, I don't think he's the in-ring worker Eddie Guerrero was. I think the legacy he leaves behind is going to be just as impactful as Eddie Guerrero's was, especially when you talk about WWE. Eddie had a lot more time to flesh out his legacy, but I definitely think Windham Rotunda deserves to be at least in consideration for WWE Hall of Fame, 100%.
Well, let's talk about what's going on right now. That would be the Wyatt Six. Uncle Howdy shows back. What are your thoughts on this? Definitely making an impact when they show up.
I mean, everybody thought Chad Gable was dead online.
Yeah,
we thought we were never going to see him again. He had a wound that looked more like an exit wound instead of a chair shot or something like that. But oh man, you talk about something that just leaves an impact and leaves an impression. I thought, I was bringing up NXT earlier. I still remember when NXT with Daniel Bryan and Wade Barrett, when they all destroyed the ring, it gave me kind of like that vibe almost, except with the backstage area. I mean, I feel like we've been trying to speculate who's who as far as who they laid out online. And all we could think of was Chad Gable. And obviously he's going to be involved with some storylines and, Alpha Academy is going to play into all of that. But I mean, that's how you leave an impression, man. I mean,
you think they're going to be the big thing going into SummerSlam?
Do I think the Wyatt Six is going to be the big thing going in?
Yeah.
I don't know about the big thing, but I think maybe later on in the year, I think they're going to command a lot of attention. I know people are very set on the old bloodline facing the new bloodline, and the Wyatt Six was meant to shake things up, There was a little bit of headcanon going in my head as far as, booking is concerned, because I think everybody loves to do that to some extent. Like, what if, old and new bloodline were going to take on the Wyatt Six?
Yeah.
What if that happens?
It makes sense. I could see it being an old school Survivor Series match.
Yeah, where they have to join forces. There's people all around the ring, like back in those first Survivor Series.
So Mark Henry, I don't know if you saw this, made an interesting headline recently. Apparently the Wyatt Six was seen in a McDonald's or something, kind of out of character, taking a photo. Mark Henry just laid into them, saying you're ruining the character here. What do you think? That was a little much, or what do you think of that? I thought that was an interesting take by Mark.
I'm not gonna. I think if a wrestler is gonna talk about something like that, I think it makes sense to kind of defer to them, and kind of get their takes on it. But what I will say is, when I first saw my gut reaction to that, I mean, I just kind of thought it was funny. I just laughed about it. You know what I mean? They're in a whole bunch of creepy masks, acting like they just, came out of the bottom of hell, and now they're just sitting chilling at a McDonald's. I had a good laugh when I saw it, actually.
Well, John Brecko, Go ahead.
Go ahead. But I could see where Mark Henry's coming from, basically.
Sure. I understand protecting the business. It does make sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, John Brecko, tell our viewers once again where they can find Hot Tag Takes.
You can find Hot Tag Takes on YouTube. We post all of our shows there. We did our most recent show with an author by a book series by the name of Beyond Demons. I think the Wyatt Six might be in there somewhere. Something about demons in there. But
John Brecko with Hot Tag Takes, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I want to thank John for coming on the show, and of course JoJo Offerman for joining us here today on Going Ringside. So glad she could take the time to give us an update on life, how things have been going for her and the family following Bray's passing last summer. And we're really coming up on the 1 year since he passed away. I want to thank you for joining us. We have some big things coming in July, maybe the biggest we'll ever have here at Going Ringside. A little bit of a tease. I'll keep you guys posted in coming weeks if we're able to make it happen. But so glad you could be with us on the show today. We'll see you back here next time.
This has been Going Ringside with the local station, brought to you every Wednesday on your favorite podcast player, on New Sport Jacks Plus, as well as the New Sport Jacks YouTube channel.